Hey, Flimsy Lunch Tray here, and don't skip ahead. This screen is really important when it comes to map awareness. Knowing what ships are on the enemy team, knowing what ships you have on your team is really important, and often you'll see me, even after the battle has started, I'm looking at that. I'm digesting information. Having map awareness, especially in ranked, because you can often make some pretty big plays in ranked just by knowing information of how your team's set up and how the enemy team's set up, by what you see and what you do not see of the enemy team. So in this ranked match on the tiers of the cruisers, I'm going to be featuring the tier 9 German battle cruiser, the Prince Ruprecht, which is a very, very fun tier 9 battleship to play in ranked, to brawl in. Now the other one, her counterpart, FDG, not so much. Pommern would be the better pick in that regard because of the more massive health pool that Pommern has over the Prince Ruprecht. But let's just talk about the map awareness here, because this is going to go by pretty quick. What happens here? So first thing is seeing how your team sets up. So initially, we have a Eudaloy coming over with us. Kitakaze still beginning to move. But B has already begun to be capped, and you just saw me tab out because I'm like, okay, someone went very fast towards the B cap. So we know it's one of the destroyers is at B. The cruisers or battleships wouldn't have been able to get that fast. So often when you're doing this information, you're deducting, deducing, okay, could it be this? No. So we know that, for example, with this destroyer just flipped to B. This is kind of funny. There's already someone GGing in chat. So, and now we look, the Kitakaze's coming with us, and we have the Edinburgh and Delaware and Iwami going to the A cap. So it's like, okay, so I'm going to get on time here at C to flip the cap. We still haven't seen the enemy team yet, so we're still wondering how they're set up. My plan right now is I'm going to push a little bit further down here, but at the same time, I don't want to push in along the islands and just rushing in, and I don't know where the enemy team's set up. Now, here's really important because the Eudaloy is leaving. He's not scouting for me. He's going mid. I look at the mini-map, Kitakaze going mid. So I'm kind of on my own at the moment with how both of these two ships are leaving. Now, I'm kind of curious. Okay, I'm not spotted yet. Will I catch some AA if I just drop some depth charge planes? So I'm seeking information. I don't get anything. Now, no AA fired by any enemy ships. Now, they probably have seen that the depth charge planes shows that Prince Ruprecht depth charge planes. We have the Kutuzov and then the Heisen. Pommern's going mid. Still no destroyers spotted yet, but we know one's over here. Okay, ZF6 is at A. He's just been spotted. So that tells me the Palio Emilio is over here at Bravo. And because we've not seen him yet, or we've not been spotted, we haven't seen any smoke train coming at us, he doesn't know exactly where I'm at. He's probably setting up in an ambush area. So in this situation, I don't actually need to push in. I don't need to because I'm the only one on this flank. It would be very rash of me to rush in because there's nothing. I would most likely die, especially since the Apollo Milo is the wild card and his torpedoes hit extremely hard. Now, I'm not too worried because I'm in a secondary brawling battleship with torpedoes with hydroacoustic search and fantastic secondaries and decent speed. So we set up initially in this kind of kiting away posture. So if the Apollo Milo does get detected, we are simply just going to disengage. Now the Kutuzov has smoked up. We're still waiting here. And I'm like, man, if this Polyomilo is sitting down here, he's being very patient. And that's really good of him. I would say for destroyer players in ranks, patience tends to win games. My team has been moving through A cap. Jean Bar gets spotted. He spots us. So secondaries go. And we're looking to spot fire torps, and we instantly see smoke screen. So instantly, we turn out. We switch to the high explosive. I spam my next set of torpedoes. Now we're going to pop Hydro here in just a moment. He's not quite close enough yet. Now there he is. And so now we call him out, even though we have no teammates really probably able to help us out here. Except we have one of our destroyer players, I think, also called him out. But we spam torpedoes also because the Polyomilo is blind. The only thing that's really spotting for him is the Jean Bar, in that we fired our main guns. And so we get close quarters, devastating strike, and first blood. Just because we were patient, having the ranked map awareness of that, hey, team strong on A, they have spotted the ZF6, the Pomeran's over there. The only ship we haven't really spotted yet, besides, was the Jean Bar, and then we saw a smoke screen. And we knew that the Polyomilo had capped to B after ZF6 had been spotted. And if we haven't seen them yet, the kind of trick that, you know, Polyomilo is that it just yellows in. So now, because our team has won the A flank, there's no need for us to push after killing the Polyomilo. So we can just simply kite away. Now we can spam torpedoes, so a lot of ships like to go in that gap. So I fired another 2 sets of torpedoes, especially since Jean Bar is kind of looking like he might come up. And then I slow down a little bit here because I'm like, you know, I'd like to get this Jean Bar within secondary range, which is, looks like I have as 12 here. So, and then there's the Huntsman coming around, so I have 2 battleships I'm going to have to deal with. So this isn't going to favor me. So we had slowed down the throttle, part of the Huntsman salvo went over. We go ahead and use the damage control party. We're hoping maybe we can get a broadside AP salvo on the Jean Bar, but our torpedoes are looking good. As I kind of shake the screen because I'm just happy that I'm going to get some hits here. So the question of how many torpedoes, 1, 2, 3, 4 torpedoes. He's almost dead. Now we just turn our attention to the Huntsman. And Huntsman doesn't really scare me beyond the 410mm AP guns. So we're just going to continue to sit here and kite. He's about to come into secondary range. We're checking our torpedo firing angles as well. So his salvo, he does pin us a lot because we're battlecruiser and oversized guns. Our team has continued to secured A. They flipped it. Looks like we've lost the... No, the Utaloy is still alive. Oh, okay, he's come back to the cap. He's coming back to help, which is fantastic. Kitakaze is holding this mid position, so he's probably farming the Jean Bar. At least that's what I'd be doing if I was him right now. And just playing off my team, as now we've picked up the high caliber. So just seeing how our team's set up, when you have, especially in ranked, in terms of the awareness, once your team has secured the other cap, you don't have to push through just to get the one team's enemy cap, because they have to push into you. And any team that has to push into a defending enemy team is always at a disadvantage. Or if you're an aggressive ship pushing into a defensive ship, that posture like I'm in here at the Prince Ruprecht, then it's not going to be so good for you. So Jean Bar has taken out the Kitakaze, so now I have to be mindful that I'm showing broadside to Jean Bar. So I'm paying attention to what's happening, and there's a Jean Bar. So we already turned our guns in advance because we could be eating this French AP salvo. We almost get him, fire the back turrets. We do take a good chunk of damage there, 14k. Huntsman's continue to punish us. But now we've taken out the Jean Bar, all because we're just paying attention. We spam torpedoes, considering that Huntsman is going to be pushing into us. And Huntsman's about to eat torpedoes. Looks like 1, 2 torpedoes and dead. So we did that just by navigating what was happening on the mini-map, seeing how what ships were spotted, weren't spotted, paying attention to when a teammate dies. Utaloy's come to back me up, fantastic. Jean Bar kills the Kitakaze, so then the natural conclusion is Jean Bar is going to push up around the corner to get a broadside salvo on us. So then let's turn our guns to that direction. So often when I'm playing, if I don't have an eye tracker, or I don't even know if that's like something you have to technically buy, or if it's just some sort of software you can download, I'm constantly feeding off the mini map. When I'm ranked randoms battle, I'm constantly wanting to see what's happening, because a lot of times players get in trouble because they have tunnel vision on what's happening in the battle versus what's happening on the map itself. So then you'll see something like, you know, that Polyomilo, he expects a battleship to be aggressive, or a cruiser, maybe even a destroyer, to just run down at him because nothing's spotted, and then he just steps out and kills them. So that Polyomilo is actually, he played pretty smart in terms of just being patient, because destroyer players, in my experience in ranked, and honestly I think most ship classes in ranked, Patience tends to reward you. Doesn't mean that you're sitting back on the 10 line, the A line, the J line, the 1 line, whatever that may be. But playing patient, we secured our cap. We secured the objective on our flank, and we held the objective on our flank the entire time. We did our job on our flank. And our team is still hanging in there on the A flank, as we're going to go over and try to help them out here. As both the Delaware and the Iwami are taking on Pommern, and hoping to maybe get some broadside shots here, but it's also going to be difficult because this island is beginning to get in our way as the Pommern pushes deeper in. And Utiloy's got his engine boost going. You can see he's opening up now, so we don't waste time. We finish up all the enemy ships on our flank, we immediately progress to the other flank, and Pommern dies. So that's just kind of me trying to break down how my thought process of going through ranked battle. The map awareness is so vital and so key, and what you see and what you don't see gives you a lot of information. So Death Strike, Close Quarters, First Blood, High Caliber, 152,000 damage, and that for a ranked 11 is really good. We predicted a lot of what the enemy team was doing that battle, so that was what gave us such a really good win and a good amount of base XP. And that's what separates as you go from a beginner player to an intermediate player and into being a veteran player, is just being able to predict, you know, if I was the enemy Jean Bar, what I'd do. Why I would come out and go broadside on me. If I was Paulo Emilio, I'd probably just play patient, wait till the enemy ship comes close, and then I can yellow them. If I'm my Jean Bar, you know, if I'm the Heisen, I see Jean Bar's going left, inside, let me go a little bit out to the right. And then try to predict where he may go with the torpedoes. So when you begin to get to a place where you can just really predict what enemy players may do, it helps you out a lot. Now, I'm not saying that this happens all the time for me by any means. Some players you're like, what the heck are they doing? Like, the play that they just made doesn't make any sense. So there is a bit of that, of course, and then you have also really skilled players who really know what they're doing. You know, that Jean Bar, when he came out, he could have been more nose in, not showing us so much broadside when he came around the island right before we killed him. Or maybe he had a heel he could wait on before putting his ship in. You know, there are options for him as well. Of course, he probably wants to help out the Heisen, but we predicted that he would probably do that upon killing our Kitakaze player. So I hope this is just a nice intermediate player guide video for you today in terms of map awareness and ranked. So if you liked today's video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. Subscribe if you do want to see more. If you're subscribed, thanks so much. I would appreciate it, and we'll catch you next time. Take care.